Excuse me. I have a cold. Woohoo! Yeah, I know where I contracted this. I probably contracted it from the hospital when my dad was staying there, but nonetheless, I know that my circadian rhythm is very particular and that I have to go to sleep. I have to have full 8 hours of sleep or I will be more at risk for contracting colds such as this one. But, anyway, I got off my train of thought. This is Alchemist 2, and I'm back again with, this time, a TV series review of Sherlock, the BBC version of it. I absolutely adore this, and all 3 episodes, Studying Pink, Blind Banker, and The Great Game, are absolutely superb. Even though it's before my time, I always thought that Sir Basil Rathbone was the best Sherlock Holmes, or the definitive incarnation of our story detective. I feel that he exemplified the role. And I also like Benedict. I think that Benedict is kind of an unconventional approach, like Robert Downey Jr. is. I like both equally. But I think that this is my favorite version next to ours, which is The Mentalist. Suffice it to say, I really think that the series moves at a very quick pace. You have to be on your toes. And there are a lot of things that I was able to predict since I've watched a lot of mysteries. And unlike my mom, I can usually predict who did it and what their motives were and this and that and the other, just because I can infer. I'm right here, I'm doing a review, what do you need? Yes, sir. Okay. Done. Alright. Sorry about that. I'm my dad's secretary. I really enjoy this version, and particularly because one of my favorite directors, he's a co-creator, Stephen Moffat. You probably know that because I'm a Whovian, and I've stated that before, and I'm sorry. I'm not really ashamed to say so. I think that Mr. Moffat has done a exemplary job, and I feel that he's just superior. I do believe that the series itself deserves a lot of kudos, and it's written in such a way that it grasps your attention, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat and on pins and needles, and particularly the last episode of Season 1, The Great Game, that really kept me in suspense, or as my friend would say, in suspenders. Yeah, that's my English friend who said that. Excuse me. Anyways, I really enjoyed this particular version of Sherlock because I feel it is the most accurate due to the fact that it is made in Britain. So, being Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is a English writer, they would know their material better than anybody else, I think. And they do it justice in this case. I am really looking forward to seeing Season 2, which I haven't watched yet, but I am hopeful that my DVR service will allow me to record Season 3 once it is aired, and of course there were clues dropped on Facebook as to what it's going to be about. I already have my theories concerning that, and I won't go into that. I really like, the series is just really enjoyable, it's likable, even though Sherlock himself can come off as sort of cantankerous and cold and unfeeling and uncaring. He really isn't. He's rather stoic. There's a reason for that. It just gives you more depth into his character and makes it more relatable. and Watson too. Watson is more of the heart, and Sherlock is the brain, of course. So they make a good combination, even though they're like night and day. Um, it's sort of like Starsky and Hutch. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it just reminds me so much of Starsky and Hutch. I think maybe a lot of the buddy duos that we have in our day and age come from Sherlock and Watson. And of course, I had to explain to my dad that Sherlock has a brother named Mycroft, and of course, in the movies, if you've seen the Guy Ritchie versions, Mycroft is in them. And if you've read the stories, Mycroft is part of that, and they're always trying to outdo each other. They have a sibling rivalry, and this is very common. This is known to all the Sherlock fans out there, I'm sure, but he wasn't aware of that. Who is that? And I had to explain, and he said, oh, yeah, they're both consulting detectives, so apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're very good at what they do, and they're brilliant, and they're geniuses in their own right, and it's just so funny to see their dynamic. Same thing with Watson and Sherlock, and I really enjoy the camaraderie between the two, and it just makes you believe that even though somebody might seem a little bit egotistical and wrapped up in just the pursuit of solving a case, he has a heart, and he does genuinely care about Watson. You can see this in episode 3 especially. And I'm not going to give away any spoilers if you haven't seen it. And if you're a fan of Sherlock like I am, if you haven't seen it, give it a chance. And I think you'll be massively surprised like I was. I was won over immediately by Benedict, and of course the actor who plays Watson is outstanding. They're all top notch. I would have to give the series 2 thumbs up and 5 stars. No questions asked. This is really tremendous entertainment. And there were in the second episode, The Blind Banker, there were some references to the 11th incarnation of the Doctor. At least I thought. I don't know if anybody else caught on to this, but when he was kind of dodging around and ducking underneath I tried to imitate it, underneath all the monitors, and he was going around the cubicles, and he was looking at the cipher from many different angles in this particular episode. I thought, yeah, this reminds me, not the 11th incarnation, but the 10th incarnation in the episode Partners in Crime. And if you've seen that episode, then you know what I'm speaking of. And I thought, yeah, that was definitely Moffat's touch. And there are a lot of character traits that I see that are similar with Sherlock that I see in the 11th incarnation of the Doctor. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that there's meant to be quite a connection. And a lot of fans have said, well, write a crossover already. Do it. Because we saw it in the last episode where he was, where 11, or I should say the Doctor, was dressed in the typical Holmes attire, Holmesian. I don't know if that's an actual word, adjective, but wouldn't it be wonderful if he did? I think that would be fantastic. But that's what fan fictions are for. If it never happens. And I know the fan fiction base is going, oh yay! Look what I can do! Whee! I have talent. Yes, you do. Don't forget it. Yeah, imagination is power. Don't forget that. Other than that, let's see. I'm going to do a little bit of an update. If I can without coughing myself half to death. Excuse me. But anyways, I have just started writing my first steampunk romance. I am also going to be writing a rom-com called Call Me Irresponsible, which is kind of like Life as We Know It, but different than Life as We Know It entirely. I think this story has been done before. Basically, my main character is he's coaxed into a frat party in which he drinks himself stupid. He shags this girl. Um, she becomes pregnant because they don't use protection, of course. Very predictable. She calls him and she says, "I know you don't remember our little rendezvous from the night before, but I'm pregnant." And of course he has that reaction of, "Oh crap." So there's a lot of funny stuff to this, but it's also very serious. And luckily she doesn't have her full blown pregnancy until after they graduate, and then she starts worrying about everything, and she just becomes hysterical, and he has to try to comfort her, and he steps up. At first he doesn't really want to have anything to do with it, but he realizes that he's a gentleman, and that's not the way he was brought up. So, it should be great when I finish it. And so far it's going along quite well. But that's about all I have to report on, other than I have this stupid cough and cold and... But I'll get over it eventually. It'll be gone a lot quicker than the other one I had. That was 3 weeks of pure heck that I went through. And I've never been sick that long, if ever. So, say la vie. I will overcome this. I am a fighter.